The Tragedy of Cinema podcast is intended as a family-friendly program that by extension strives to be inclusive to all people regardless of their ethnicity, gender, creed, or any other identifying factors in this incredibly diverse world of ours. With that said, some of the films we discuss may contain serious subject matters or have content considered morally objectionable by today's standards. We do not intend to condone or dismiss these aspects of these films, but our primary focus will be on what we believe the film succeeds at, some fun facts, and our personal enjoyment factors of each film. With that said, we hope you enjoy the show.
You know what kind of drunken brawls those parties turn into. It's no place for kids.
A minute ago, you said you didn't care if he drinks.
He said a little drink.
You're tearing me apart!
What?
You say one thing, he says another, and everybody changes back again!
Girls don't love their father. Since when? Since I got to be 16?
Stop that!
I love you, Jim. I really mean it.
No, I don't want you to go to the police. There were other people. Why should you be the only one involved?
But I am involved. We are all involved. Mom, a kid was killed tonight. This is all going too fast for me.
You better give me something. You better give me something fast.
Jimmy, you're very young. A foolish decision now could wreck your whole life. In 10 years, you'll never know this even happened.
Dad, answer her.
Stand up!
You want to kill your own father? Gary!
Alright guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host Jimbo, and once again joined by
Kyle, the lovable rebel.
Today is episode 97. We'll be talking about the infamous Rebel Without a Cause.
Yes.
Starring James Dean.
James Dean.
So Kyle, this week's questions are going to be more of a topic of discussion instead of just an all-out question for you.
Wow.
And it's like a 3-part question. Okay, so here we go.
Hit me with it, Jimbo.
Number 1. Do you think James Dean is an overrated actor?
Whew. You just start
just coming out of the gates early with this.
Overrated actor. Yes. I think I would say so. I think there's looking him up, you'll find there's more documentaries about him than films he started in the first place. He only did 3 films and everything else too. He was gone too soon, all kind of stuff. There's an almost very morbid fascination with him in his life and career that kind of goes beyond seemingly who he was as a person to me. And so I do think to that degree he's overrated because why are some people so fascinated with him when it's he was a really great, like, verging on great actor for the movies he was in, but like also it's still like a smaller footnote in the film history, in my opinion. So yes, I would say he's overrated.
All right, that leads me to my second point.
Okay.
Do you think that the only reason he became iconic or larger than life is due to the circumstances surrounding his death?
Yeah, largely. Yeah, I presumably, if he still lived, he would have gone to have
An amazing career.
An amazing career on his own and all that kind of stuff too, and then be more recognized as a properly rated actor, not overrated or underrated, but a properly rated actor in that case. So, and I believe he's overrated now because his life was unfortunately taken from him early. So, yes, I think that's a big part of playing to his history.
And do you think that he belongs with the icons Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe, as such, being in the famous pictures of them sitting at the cafe, and different pictures that has the icons from that era?
I do think it's okay for that because it's less of the role he played, but the aesthetic he had. He had that quintessential kind of 50s flair to him in a way that was same time a little bit gritty, a little bit more human and down to earth. That I think kind of accentuates both Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe of the time. So I think he captures that 50s aesthetic, that actual kind of like more sincere look at itself kind of idea. So I think he's okay to have that, to be brought to that kind of imagery lexicon of the 50s. I think that's well earned in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think that with the amount that you're going to be. The movies that he did, the amount of movies that he did, I think you need more of a body of work to put him into an iconic role. Was he good in what he did? I don't know. I haven't seen East of Eden or Giants.
Yeah.
This is the only one that I've seen multiple times. So we got it on our list to watch the other ones, which we'll cover eventually, and maybe our opinions will change. I doubt it. Kyle was just sharing with me a screenshot or an article where they are going to have a movie called Finding Jack, where James Dean is being CGI'd as a main character throughout the entire movie. As we were discussing, we're not sure how we feel about that. As Kyle stated, Hollywood pretty much doesn't like that because a role like that could have went to maybe an up-and-coming actor who deserved to get a breakout role instead of being hindered or given to somebody that's dead, obviously, but CGI'd in.
Yeah, I think it kind of plays the idea of just like people always like it's not like a new idea to say like Hollywood is out of ideas, in the same way of playing nostalgia of doing like legacy sequels or reboot sequels that we've been seeing like increasingly more in the film industry of like legacy reboot sequels. Reboot, wequel, whatever. Requels. I don't know what the terms are now. I might have a head. And now we're in the point where we're just reusing dead actors and parading them around like puppets to avoid paying actual actors for new kind of roles and contracts that might have royalties and all those.
Although the CGI might cost more than an actor would.
For the moment, CGI might cost, but Disney and other companies are paying for the research and development to make this CGI easier and cheaper and more believable to the human eye, where you can just render out a person that looks photorealistic for the movie. Right now we can kind of do it for the expensive movies, and even Disney's doing it for their television shows. It's clearly going to get to the point where in 10 years, maybe even less, there's going to be very easy to reproduce an actor that is good enough looking to do the role, and then have a stunt actor basically do the puppeteering work of moving the body in a live action sense. So that's kind of it's a worrying precedent to set, where now we're just gonna be we're gonna be paying the James Dean estate or the Elvis estate or whatever kind of other notable actor may have passed away, or we use young Harrison Ford, even though Harrison Ford's still alive, to make a film instead of actually casting a new actor and making them make big money. It's just a way for Hollywood to avoid having another Robert Downey Jr. who makes hundreds of millions of dollars in movies, or Will Smith or something like that.
So let me ask you a question then. If they could CGI Heath Ledger's Joker, would you be interested in seeing it again?
No.
You wouldn't?
No. Specifically that example, no. I mean, you could probably find an example for me that I might want to see or something like that, or just the I can't think of one on the top of my head. Well, probably like young Harrison Ford, if you want to try something like that for like a new Indiana Jones movie, and actually have like a true like fourth sequel, which takes place after the last after the latest movie that like takes place shortly afterwards, like a young Harrison Ford doing those kind of roles again. That would be interesting to see, right? And like that, you would kind of want to see that. It sounds interesting, or even like sooner in the timeline, Star Wars stuff where you have those young actors. That could be interesting to see, and they are kind of doing that with the TV shows. So there's stories that could be told there, but at the same time though, you still you want new actors to get new work. You want new generations to have new things to enjoy. Just recycling the same things over and over and over again leads to stagnation in the whole industry, and that could also lead to a huge market crash for long term speaking.
All right, Kyle, I think we've rallied on about this long enough.
Okay, I understand.
So we probably need to get going to the actual movie for this week.
You're right.
Which is Rebel Without a Cause. So.
Okay, I'll take on the lead of doing all the stuff I usually do. Very professional, I know. Rebel Without a Cause, released on 1995, and let me
1995?
No. No. That'd be very early. I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry. It was released October 26th, 1955.
There we go.
There we go. I got it there. Directed by Nicholas Ray. Written by Stuart Stern for the screenplay and Ivor Schulman for the adaptation, and Nicholas Ray from the original for the original story. Composer was Leonard Rosenman. Cinematographer was Ernest Haller. The budget of the film was $1.5 million, which would be the equivalent of $15.9 million today. Opening weekend, it only made $116,000, so disappointing opening weekend there, which would be equivalent to about $1.2 million today. And gross worldwide was just $212,000, which would be equivalent to about $2.25 million today. So a little bit of a financial kind of hit there on it. Let's see here, and let's go to the technical details here. We have a runtime of 111 minutes. Sound mix is mono for the optical print. Then we went to 4-track stereo for the RCA sound recordings and magnetic prints. And Dolby Digital for the DVD version of the movie. Color info, this was done in color by Warner Brothers Color, Warner Color otherwise. Aspect ratio, we have a 2.55 by 1. And printed format was 35 millimeters, of course. Let's see here. Then we're going on to the awards, which I got somewhere around here in my notes right here. Let's see here. In 1957, it won the Golden Globe for Most Promising Newcomer Female to Natalie Wood. It also was nominated for the Oscars for Best Actor in a Supporting Role to Sal Mino. Best Writing for a Motion Picture Story to Nicholas Ray, and Best Actress in Supporting Role, Natalie Wood. And let's see here, it also was a nominated for the BAFTAs for Best Film from Any Source in the USA. It was also nominated for Best Foreign Actor, wrote it to James Dean. And let's see here, in 1990, it was also added to the National Film Registry. Okay, that concludes the rewards. So moving on to the cast. For the cast, we of course have the partially overrated James Dean.
Legendarily
overrated James Dean playing Jim Stark. James Dean was also in such films as Giant and East of Eden. James is also set to reappear in a film recreating CGI for the upcoming live-action movie Finding Jack sometime in 2022, so end of this year or later next year if it gets delayed, which it may. Okay, next up we have Natalie Wood playing Judy. She was in the original West Side Story in 1961, Splendor in the Grass in 1961, The Searchers in 1956, Brainstorm in 1983, The Great Race in 1965, and Gypsy in 1962. Next up, we have Sal Mino playing John Plato Crawford. He was in movies such as Giant in 1956 alongside James Dean, Exodus in 1960, Who Killed Teddy Bear in 1965, Tomka in 1958, and Somebody Up There Likes Me in 1956. Jim Backus plays Frank Stark. He was in such films as Gilligan's Island. Oh, he was on in the show Gilligan's Island from 1964 to 1967. The show I Married Joanne in 1952 to 1955. And he was also in Mr. Magoo's Christmas Carol, as well as the show between 1960 and 1962. Next up, we have Ann Doran playing Mrs. Carol Stark. They were in movies such as It, The Terror from Outer Space in 1958, Fear in the Night in 1947, Penny Serenade in 1941, and Never a Dull Moment in 1950. Then we have Corey Allen playing Buzz Gunderson in, he was in such films such as Avalanche in 1978, Private Property in 1960, Thunder and Lightning in 1977, The Last Fling in 1987, and Juvenile Jungle in 1958. Then we have William Hopper playing Judy's father. He was in such films such as 20 Million Miles to Earth in 1957, The Deadly Mantis in 1958, and Track of the Cat in 1954, The Bad Seed in 1956, and Sitting Bull in 1954. And then we have Rochelle Hudson playing Judy's mother. She was in such films as Curly's Top in 1935, Imitation of Life in 1934, Convicted Woman in 1940, and The Savage Girl in 1932. Then we have one of the other noteworthy actors, Dennis Hopper, playing just a goon. Dennis Hopper was also, of course, best known for movies such as Easy Rider in 1969, Speed in 1994, Blue Velvet in 1986, Waterworld in 1995, Hoosiers in 1986. Hoosiers! Represent. Apocalypse Now in 1979. And True Romance in 1993. Then finally, last but not least, we have Edward Platt playing Ray Fremick. He was in such films such as The Rebel Set in 1959, Atlantis, The Lost Continent in 1961, North by Northwest in 1959, Oregon Passage in 1957, and Designing Women in 1957 as well. And that is the cast of Rebel Without a Cause.
So, Kyle, go ahead and give us a quick synopsis of Rebel Without a Cause.
Okay, let me take one quick drink of water for our brief silence. This is an ASMR for you right now, folks.
Tipping one back for his homies.
Mm-hmm. Yes, Jim Stark is a new... Right yeah. Oh, I'll just read the... I'll read the plot summary right here. Okay, fine. Jim Stark is the new kid in town. He has been troublesome elsewhere. That's why his family had to move before. Here he hopes to find... He finds the love he doesn't get from his middle-class family, though he finds some of his relation with Judy and a form of his both Plato's adulation and Ray's real concern for him. Jim must prove himself to his peers in a switchblade knife fights and chicky games in which cars race toward a seaside cliff. I feel like I butchered that kind of combination, but yes. Yeah, new kid in town, trying to prove himself, concerned for a kid, trying to find love. The story of all 1950s childhood.
He said, new kids on the block, and he's got the right stuff. That's all I can think of.
Start playing Wham.
All right, so, oh, wow. Careless Whisper. No. Okay, so let's talk about this movie a little bit. James Dean, he has some weird ways to get into character, which we'll talk about in the notes, which I saw. I think one of them, he gets down like a fetal position until they say action, and then he jumps up and starts doing his line. We'll talk about it. So here we go. James Dean got angry when Nicholas Ray stopped the knife fight scene after noticing that Dean had been cut on the ear and was bleeding. Dean said, "Don't you ever cut a scene while I'm having a real moment." I was like, wow.
Yeah. I get it. Method actors are crazy. That's definitely a thing, too. So, yeah.
The opening movie scene in which Jim Stark finds the toy monkey, it was actually improvised by James Dean after the production had begun shooting for nearly 24 hours straight. He asked Nicholas Ray to roll the camera, and he wanted to do something. Ray obliged, and the improvisation went on to become the famous opening scene. The real opening scene was supposed to be a gang beating up a father who drops the toy on the sidewalk.
Oh, jeez.
The studio thought it was way too violent, so it was cut. So that's obviously where you can see where he picked up the toy and started playing with it during the opening credits. James Dean later confessed that the film used me up. I could never take so much out of myself again.
Yeah, and he never did.
Kind of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
The empty pool in which the characters sit and discuss their lives first appeared in Sunset Boulevard in 1950. The pool had been built especially for the earlier film as a condition of renting the site from its owner, Mrs. J. Paul Getty. Tragically, James Dean died on September 30th, 1955, nearly a month before this film was released on October 27th, 1955.
Oh, so we're watching his final film. I didn't know the other films came out earlier. Okay,
Yeah.
now we know.
Right. James Dean was injured several times while shooting the Switchblade fight, during which a real weapon was used.
Wow.
So
old movies are crazy, guys.
So are old people, Kyle. Don't test me.
That too. Yeah. Beware the boomer.
Natalie Wood, we all know the mysterious circumstances involving her death. Kyle, do you know what that is?
No, I do not. Jimbo, inform me
It's
about
where
this.
her and Christopher Walken, and the name's on the tip of my tongue, they were all on a boat, and somehow she tragically drowned that night.
Oh.
But she had bruising all over her face and everything, so they don't know if there was some... look up who that other guy was. That's going to bother me.
Okay, I'm gonna look up Natalie
just
Wood.
put Natalie Wood death, and it'll tell you.
I'm sure I'll find out.
So she was considered too young for the role of Judy, even though she was the same age as the character. She was at least 5 years younger than any other candidates except Margaret O'Brien. She adopted a mature woman's hairstyle, started wearing heavy eye makeup, and eventually attracted the notice of director Nicholas Ray, who was 43, who began an affair with the 16-year-old and gave her the part.
Wow. I would say that, man, old Hollywood was bad. Truth is, current Hollywood's also bad about that.
Right. Like we just talked about Roman Polanski not too long ago, too.
So. Oh, God, yeah, he's much worse. But still, also bad.
T-shirt sales soared after James Dean wore one in this film. Compare this to when Clark Gable had a shirtless scene and it happened one night, 1934. T-shirt sales dropped 40%.
It's hilarious.
Jim Backus, who played James Dean's father, was also the voice of Mr. Magoo and taught Dean how to do the Mr. Magoo voice when Dean then used to deliver the line, "Drown them in like puppies." Sorry, that was a terrible Mr. Magoo.
I can't find the other actor referred to. I just see with Christopher Walken. I don't see anyone else. It's just Natalie Wood and Christopher Walken. So
yeah, there's somebody else. I'll have to look for it.
Oh, Robert Wagner was the person interested in the ongoing investigation.
There it is.
What's that?
Thank you.
That was back in just 2018, so this is still a story that could develop in the near future.
Right.
Watch a news story come out today after we post the podcast.
Wouldn't that be crazy? The part where Jim and Judy find Plato wearing one blue sock and one red sock was not scripted. Sal Mino actually put them on that way by mistake. He was having a bad morning.
It's a young person thing to do.
The arguments Hopper and Ray had over their affairs with Natalie Wood resulted in most of Hopper's lines being cut. Ray wanted him fired, but his contract with Warner Brothers wouldn't allow it.
Mm-hmm. Actually, I got to ask you now, because we've got to learn the personal notes about Jimbo and myself. Jimbo, can you wear mismatched socks?
No, it drives me crazy.
You can't do it?
My daughter wears them, and I'm like, oh, look.
Oh, my God.
You've got another pair down here just like that.
That's terrifying.
Do you wear them?
No, I can't wear mismatched socks. It'll drive me insane.
I know.
I'd sooner die.
Well, then you even got those really crazy people that wear the knee high and then 1 footy or something. That's just really terrible.
That is madness.
You can ask my wife, I love socks. I will buy new packs of socks all day long. And there's just something about a new pair of socks out of the bag. Mm-hmm. And I have way too many socks as it is.
Yeah.
But man, there's nothing like a nice new pair of fluffy socks.
The perfect pair of work socks, and then I feel like I want enough money just to buy a lifetime supply of those.
If you want to get your pair of the Tragedy of Cinema socks, go to Redbubble and
we gotta work on that. Yeah,
we might have them
when we actually get the brand really going full speed. Tragedy of Cinema socks, guys.
Awesome. Okay, here we go.
Right on them.
All right, Kyle derailed me with socks.
Sock talk. The podcast coming up now.
You've heard of pillow talk. Now here, sock talk. Wouldn't it be a sock hop? Huh. All right. So basically, Natalie Wood's having affairs with everybody, it seems like, in this movie. And now here we go. All three lead actors, James Dean, Sal Mino, and Natalie Wood, all died prematurely under tragic circumstances. Dean died in an automobile accident in September 1955. Mino was stabbed to death on February 12, 1976, and Wood drowned in late autumn 1981. In addition, Edward Platt died by suicide in 1974, and Dennis Hopper fell ill suddenly in the fall of 2009 and died 5 months later.
Whew. Bloody film. It's just, that's harsh.
It's like one of them films that's cursed. You know what I mean?
The tragedy surrounds it. Yeah, unfortunately.
By the way, Natalie Wood was also the little girl Susan in Miracle on 34th Street. You did not.
I did not know that. I did not mention that in the...
You've probably never seen it.
I have not seen Miracle on 34th Street.
You've never seen the original Miracle on 34th? Have you seen any Miracle on 34th Street?
No, I've not seen any.
All right, Kyle. We already did them for Christmas. So you have to watch it.
I could definitely imagine myself having sat through it when I was a child on Miracle on 34th Street.
No, you would remember it.
Oh, okay. Then I definitely haven't seen them.
No,
I don't remember ever seeing Miracle on 34th Street. I don't remember anything. I basically am
kids these days. Yeah. All right. Realizing the actor's power to touch youthful audiences, Nicholas Ray gave James Dean free rein to improvise his scene. The cast often took its cues not from Ray, but from the method-entranced Dean. Originally based on a non-fiction work by Robert M. Linder about the hypnoanalysis of a young criminal, producer Jerry Wald commissioned several scripts to be made, including one by none other than Theodore Geisel, better known as Dr. Seuss.
Dr. Seuss. I wonder if that could be the reason why he was seen as like so highly praised today, because maybe he was like one of the, method acting wasn't as common in the 1950s as it is now, for instance. So maybe that's why, like him being a young and noteworthy Methodist actor who goes all out to try and
get Methodist actor. Why'd you have to bring religion into it, Kyle?
You're right. A method-focused actor, and so like that. I'm actually of the mind that actually I like actors who are just like, no, you just act, you do the job. And now actors like Jared Leto or whatever are like, oh yeah, no, I only ate snails for a year to get ready for this role. It's like you also could have tried acting. You could have.
We are basing this on one movie. We haven't watched the other one, so after we see that, then we'll talk about.
You're right. Yeah, down the line, future notes.
When the crew began night shooting at the Griffith Park Planetarium in Hollywood, downtown Los Angeles, residents saw the bright production lights in the hills and started flooding the switchboards with reports of raging forest fires.
Wow, okay.
Although playing a teenager, James Dean was actually 24 when the movie was filmed. Natalie Wood and Sal Mineo, however, were of the right age.
Mm-hmm. James, what were you doing when you were 24, Jimbo?
I wasn't
starting the best movie of my life.
I was 3 years married, and I believe had my son already.
Oh wow! Okay, so I wasn't.
James,
I was living at home, folks.
James Dean, Natalie Wood, Nick Adams, and Sal Mineo were all inseparable foursome while filming. Soon after the premiere of East of Eden in 1955, so this came out the same year. East of Eden came out the same year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, okay.
It became clear that James Dean had achieved star status. Modern sources speculate that because of his new box office appeal and the growing success of teenage rebel movies, Warner decided to upgrade this film, budgeting it with more money and production time and ordering that it be filmed in color after they had already started shooting in black and white.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, Ann Dorn said Jimmy did most of the directing. He gave us our lines. He dominated the entire thing. Dean's and Nicholas Ray's working relationship was equally bizarre. Ray often rehearsed with Dean at his Chateau Marmont bungalow and felt the energy between them were so powerful that he actually recreated his own living room on the set to inspire Dean. Duran also recalled Jimmy was a strange boy. Boy, I've heard that called. I've been told that many times in my early childhood. On the first day, Jim Backus couldn't believe it. We were watching Jimmy doing his scene, and someone had said, "Quiet, we're going to shoot now." And they got up speed and were ready for action. Jimmy went down on the floor in the fetal position for the longest time. It seemed like half a can of film, and Nick said, "Action." Jimmy stood up and went into the scene. Jim and I had never seen this method of doing things. Nick seemed to be mesmerized by Jimmy.
Oh, wow. Okay. So, all the more reason why he's such a highly praised actor today, I guess. Once again, we'll get more than that when we come.
It's like Kyle. He lays here in the fetal position until we start recording, and he hops right up and ready to go.
But I do it for a very different reason. It's funny, but it's also quite sad.
James Dean badly bruised his hand during the police station scene where he physically vents his rage on a precinct desk and had to wear a bandage on his hand for a week.
Oh, wow.
Frank Mazzola, who plays Crunch in the film, was an actual street gang member when he was a student in Hollywood High School. He was a member of a gang called the Athenians. As such, he served as technical advisor to director Nicholas Ray and coached other actors as to street gangs' attitudes and mannerisms.
Yeah, so here's the thing. You're rude to everybody. That's the rule, okay? Very good.
The 1949 Mercury Coupe James Dean drove in the movie is part of the permanent collection at the National Automobile Museum in Reno, Nevada.
Cool.
Dennis Hopper and Natalie Wood had a brief relationship during filming. Wood also had an affair with Nicholas Ray, which was scandalous due to the fact that she was only 16 while he was 43 and older than her father. As revealed by informed sources to Vanity Fair magazine in 2005, Ray also had an affair with Sal Mino. Scandalous Hollywood.
Just shake my head.
That's all the comments.
Disappointed in Dennis Hopper, man. If you're in your 40s, don't date a 16-year-old.
Well, that wasn't Dennis Hopper. Dennis Hopper was young, too.
Oh, okay.
That was the
other person who was 40. Okay, Dennis Hopper's okay then. Yeah, Dennis Hopper.
Well, he's okay. She was only 16 still, Kyle.
Still okay. I'm going to retract the last 20 seconds of my life. I deny everything.
The red jacket worn by James Dean was obtained in the early 1960s by American avant-garde filmmaker Kenneth Anger and sent to the museum collection in Paris of the French. Well, I don't even know this
French,
was Cinematheque.
Thick cinema.
Cinematheque. Whatever. Cinema. Which had been helpful in showing and promoting his own work, but in 1972 the jacket was stolen.
Oh no.
Somewhere. Somebody has
it. Just wears it every day. Just nonstop.
Here you go, Kyle. This is more your speed. In Futurama, the outfit of Philip J. Fry is based on Jim's outfit.
That makes perfect sense. It's that outfit for sure. Yeah.
When Jim, Judy, and Plato are exploring the empty mansion, the candles in the candelabra Plato carries were lit by a wire that ran through Sal Mino's jacket.
Impressive stuff. Pretty cool.
The director, Nicholas Ray, researched LA gangs by riding around with them for several nights. It always baffles me, like this guy going around with gangs, and you got the people that drive around with the mob, to do like Godfather or something. They're actually with the mob. No. This is how we would have killed him.
This is how we really do it, guys.
Wow. Okay.
I'm awesome. I don't know.
The film was originally going to contain a kiss between James Dean and Sal Mino.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Based on the strong sneak preview response to the film, Warner Brothers proposed a long-term contract for James Dean.
That didn't work out.
No. Paul Newman was considered for the role of Jim.
Yeah, Paul Newman could done it. Paul Newman can do anything, so yeah, he could have done that too. I would consider that a win if it was Paul Newman or James Dean.
When Jim's father comes into his room before the Chicky run, Dean gets out of bed and removes his T-shirt. On the left side of the screen are black and white photos of racing cars, the most prominent being one that looks very much like the 1955 Porsche 550 Spider that Dean would die in on his way to a racing event he was included in with that car.
Oh, wow. Real life foreshadowing of his death. Yay! Movie trivia is scary sometimes.
Except he died before the movie came out, too.
Yeah, I know, but still.
The switchblade that James Dean used in the fight scene at Griffith Observatory was offered at auction on September 30, 2015 by Profiles in History with an estimated value of $12,000 to $15,000 with a winning bid of $12,000. Man, that would be awesome to have in the studio here, wouldn't it?
That would be really cool.
Also offered at the same auction were production photographs and a final shooting script dated August 17, 1955 for a behind-the-scenes television promotional film titled Behind the Cameras, Rebel Without a Cause, hosted by Gig Young, and that had scripted interviews and staged footage by the cast and crew. The script sold for only $225, which I would have took that.
I understand the appeal of it. I just have no idea where I'd even keep it or if I ever do anything with it. Like, even looking at that point, I buy whole art books and I just put them on a shelf.
Oh, Kyle. Debbie Reynolds, do you know who Debbie Reynolds was?
Yes.
Was allegedly suggested for the part of Judy, which she could have done it.
Yeah, I can see that.
The support check sent by Plato's parents was written for some date in 1956 and was in the amount of $687.50. Adjusted for inflation, that would equal, or in 1956, it was equal to $6,681.94 in 2021. James Dean, contrary to popular belief, did not get malaria during filming, as some have reported. That is false.
False. Never happened. Factual.
There's a fan of a photo of Alan Ladd in Plato's school locker. It's the final film of Virginia Brisick. Jeff Silver, Billy Gray, and Dennis Hopper were considered for the role of Plato. Between the opening scenes and the climax, a good deal of the film was shot around the studio's backlot. Obviously, this is a Roger Ebert's great movie list that you should see. Among the actors who tested for roles in this film were Margaret O'Brien, Tab Hunter, Carol Baker, Bobby Driscoll, Richard Beymer, Susan Strasberg, Johnny Sheffield, I almost said Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld.
Totally
Wow.
Peggy Ann Garner, Russ Tamblyn, Claude Jarman Jr., and Anthony Perkins.
I recognize about half those names, actually.
All right, tell me what they were all from, Kyle.
This guy was in this. That guy was in this. This gal was in this girl.
You do know where
What?
Anthony Perkins was in, right?
Anthony Perkins was in the Godfather. I have no idea. No, I have no idea. Psycho. Anthony Perkins, Psycho. That makes sense. Okay. I could connect the dots if you gave me like half an hour.
Now you got me second guessing myself. I would
be like, yeah, cool.
Plato had a headshot of actor Alan Ladd inside school. Like our lad was a top star in the era Rebel was made. He was also known as shorter than average movie star, which have had a special appeal to the diminutive Plato.
Yeah, that Tom Cruise disorder.
James Dean's character's surname Stark is an anagram of Trask, the surname of his character in East of Eden.
Ooh, okay.
Hume Cronin, John Daner, Rod Cameron, Walter Matthau, and Raymond Burr were considered for Jim's father.
All good actors. Walter Matthau. That's probably the most recognizable name I see on that list. I could see him doing it. Be good.
In the police station scenes where while the dots are talking to the cops, Jim keeps humming Richard Wagner's Ride of the Valkyries, a classical piece known to his audiences both because of its memorable use in Apocalypse Now. Dennis Hopper has appeared in both films.
Yep. Actually, if we take a quick look, let me take a look at the soundtrack. Actually goes uncredited for Ride of the Valkyries, and the rest of the soundtrack I can mention right here. 5 O'Clock Whistle, also uncredited, and Wagon Lied, Op 49, number 4, Lullaby, also uncredited. That is the only soundtrack for Rebel Without a Cause.
Just after Natalie Wood says to James Dean, "Nobody acts sincere," there are 4 distinct notes played in Leonard Roseman's soundtrack that are the same 4 distinct notes in Wayne Walker's pop song "Are You Sincere," made famous in 1957 by Andy Williams on Cadence Records. It was felt on film would have seemed more believable if the story did not take place over the course of only one day.
Oh yeah, one day. That is a lot for that film. Yeah, it makes sense though. No, yeah, it does make sense. But yeah, it feels like a lot more than one day in that whole film. You know,
Warner Brothers
going to the house, having the girl say "I love you" after only a day of meeting.
Yeah, like
even when
a couple
16,
hours
that's a
after
lot.
your boyfriend just died, or
after your boyfriend just died. I love you. Really?
Warner Brothers had its Midwestern Street Town Square on their backlot since 1939. In Rebel, one of its Fox buildings provided the front entrance to the police station. The same exterior was also the front entrance to the River City Library in The Music Man. That exterior was attached to the left side of Rory's high school building in Gilmore Girls. The list is practically endless for what that set was used for.
Practically endless. Reuse sets, guys.
The cars driving through the observatory front lawn are actually used using the extra wide sidewalks, which easily accommodate their size. This is the favorite film of Marsha Mason. This film is sometimes called homophobic today as the only gay character is the one who gets killed.
I think that just shows... is the film homophobic? Possibly, but it also just shows like how the 50s treated homosexuals, which is poorly.
And you know, I was talking to somebody last night, and they didn't even realize that
that was the reason
that he was gay in it. Yeah, that he was. They didn't even realize that. You know what I mean? And they had watched it multiple times. So I guess if you look for things in movies, you can find them for something.
Yeah. If you look to be offended, you'll always find something.
Right.
So it has to be like, do you want to take it on like its best intention, or do you want to take it on what could be seen as problematic? Ultimately, I wouldn't look at this film to say anything about gay rights, in my opinion, about Rebel Without a Cause. I'd not get that read at all. Personally,
me either.
If you do personally and you take offense to it, then I really understand. But like personally, I think like the film is not something that deals with that in my eyes.
Right.
Yeah.
Sal Mino once said that on the day his death scene was shot, James Dean never let him out of his sight the entire day. The whole film takes place over 24 hours. The opening scene of the police station takes place around 3 a.m. The ending scene takes place around 3 a.m. the next morning. That's weird. And
so it's like 12 hours in that case.
Can I ask you a question before
No, you can't, Jimbo.
Why would none of the kids go to the cops after the guy just went over the side of the cliff? Were they afraid that they would be like an accomplice, or they would get in trouble?
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Really, you want to say it's young dumb kids, and
because James Dean wanted to go to the cops.
Yeah, go to the cops and say like, hey, a terrible accident's happened. Like, you don't have to mention the fact like, oh, we were playing around or doing a competition with gang kids.
You just
like,
say, hey, I see this car go off the side.
I just saw this kid go. The kid's dead now. Terribly sorry to the parents. That's the thing you can say. Like, you don't have to say like, why were you there? Because I like walking. You don't need an excuse. You just know it happened. And like either way, it's not your fault. You're not going to be held accountable to that degree. But young kids make rash decisions. That's how it goes.
So we've already established that the knife fight, they used real switchblades between James Dean and Corey Allen, who played Jim and Buzz. But also to protect themselves, they wore chainmail under their vest.
So it's a real night fight.
Here, Frodo, I give you the mithril armor.
Your mithril armor. Jeez.
An alternative ending was shot in which Plato falls from the tower of the planetarium. The Chicky Run was staged at Warner Brothers property in Calabasas, California. The cars drove on flat land that led to a small bluff only 10 to 15 feet high. The cars drove over the small bluff, but the cliff, supposedly overlooking the ocean, was built on a Stage 7, now Stage 16, at the Warner Brothers lot in Burbank. The constructed cliff overlooked the stage's flooded water tank, and the actors looked down upon the water from the edge. Even so, it became necessary to map in the shots of the Pacific Ocean in the final print. When the scenes were shot for the Chickadee Run aftermath, when the teenagers run to the edge of the cliff to look down, they witnessed what looked like the sun rising and exploding. Steffi Sidney, who played Mill, would later comment that it looked like an atomic bomb went off, and it was. What they witnessed was Zucchini, the 14th and final fission bomb, weighing 28 kilotons, launched for Operation Teapot.
Oh, wow. Small world.
Yeah. Of all the bombs to drop, of all the times.
Right then and there. Yeah, insane.
Right. In the final scene where the camera pulls away from the observatory, director Nicholas Ray is the person walking towards the building, possibly director's trademark, for it is rumored he appeared in all of his movies. And last but not least, in 2010, a New York Times article about Nicholas Ray's widow, Susan, said she had in her archives an original unused treatment for Rebel in which the ending was very different. Plato was going to shoot Jim and then blow himself up with a grenade. However, another Times report in 2011 says the archive contains a Ray storyboard that shows it's Plato himself who was shot from the top of the planetarium. A treatment is a preliminary synopsis of the story from a proposed movie that either gets written before the script is started, or as in this case, afterwards, so that executives at a potential producers or investors company won't have to read the entire script. So, Kyle.
Yeah. Actually, one quick thing where I kind of noticed, like, the film, like, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but it's implied there, kind of like at the end of the scene, like, James Dean takes the gun from Plato and then proceeds to take the bullets out of takes the magazine out, which leaves the possibility that there's still a round in the chamber to the point where he could still be a threat to the police or not. I don't know if that was necessarily intentional or not. That could have just been a mistake in the filmmaking process. But I kind of like that ambiguity there of, like, if he was still a threat or something like that, or still a danger to himself, and that's why he got shot at the end of the scene, where it's like maybe he still was a threat in that one scene. So I just kind of I think about that after watching the film. That still kind of lingers in my mind if that was intentional or not. What do you think, Jimbo? Do you think it was intentional?
Man,
or was it just kind of like you just drop out, where it's like, it was probably just like, no, he really did take all the bullets out, so he wasn't a harm, and it was just an unfortunate killing. Or
well, since I'm not a gun aficionado, is the gun they use, is there even a way that one could be left in the chamber?
Yes, there is. Yes, if you cocked back the handle of the gun, it would still be in the chamber, so immediately when you pull the trigger, it would gone through. Yeah.
But if you counted the bullets, how many you used, and emptied that many bullets, then maybe not.
Well, no, he fired one round, and like you would have had a cop accident, there would have been a round in the chamber still. So if he took the magazine out, there'd still be one ready to shoot inside the gun.
I guess I wasn't paying attention to what kind of gun it is. It could have been a 6-shooter cowboy gun for all I know.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, now we know Kyle knows some useless information about guns.
I play some Call of Duty, Jimbo. I know.
I knew it wasn't because you do real guns. You just do the fake guns. Oh, man. Leave it to Kyle to swing it back to a video game.
Like, you're totally wrong about this. Guns don't even exist. It was a laser pistol. Like,
right.
Crap. It was a phaser from Star Trek.
How about it was a prop?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
They used real switchblades since they didn't use a real gun.
Yeah.
A real gun of real bullets.
Yeah, I never thought of that. All right, Kyle, tell me what you think of Rebel Without a Cause.
Rebel Without a Cause. Honestly, I kind of wanted to rewatch it after doing all these notes because it made the film actually sound more interesting than the experience I had. I was honestly kind of probably bored to tears for probably the first half of it, to be honest. I didn't really see what was really going on. I got attached to the characters. I watched it very passively and didn't feel myself getting invested at all, to the point where the final half kind of came along. I still just kind of like didn't feel invested in those characters, so I didn't care what was happening in the moment. So overall, I was kind of disappointed with the film, and I wish I wasn't. Now I kind of want to go back and try and reapproach it and maybe try and appreciate it more for what it was doing right. But I feel like by modern movie standards, it's too slow in the ways that are important to me now, watching modern films, and this older movie just had a cadence or rhythm that didn't jive with me when I watched it in this moment. So I might go back and try and appreciate it again for what it did right. But right now, my first impression of it was pretty poor, honestly. I think it was a little bit of a boring film. And by the time I got to the end, I still didn't feel myself resonating emotionally to it. So that's my overall impression of it right now. So it could be, could still be a very good film that could be worth watching when you understand the context of everything. But personally, right now, it's not a good movie in my book. Jimbo, how do you feel about Red Velvet Cause?
Oh man, I go back and forth on if I like it or if I don't like it. You see the struggle between James Dean. I think what's he say? You're tearing me apart, which is one of the most famous quotes in movie history, because of his mother and father's relationship to him.
Thinking disaster arts, you're tearing me apart.
Yeah, they're just the conflict that he has at home. It carries over to his social life.
He's clearly a troubled young man,
right? And
I want to like this
part
film
of it.
too.
Part of it is him trying to fit in, I guess. The other part is, what's his name? Plato. He's just he's infatuated with him. Like, hey, he's a new kid in town. Blah blah blah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I just wish the script was a little stronger. I guess because I don't want to say getting lost at parts. It was just. I don't even want to say it was hard to follow. It just wasn't well written, I guess, is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah, I found myself zoning out in a way where I wasn't paying attention to the plot, and then when the plot started happening, I couldn't follow it when it came out.
Not that James Dean played a bad part, but it's just, for your first James Dean movie, this is one of the ones that you hear over and over and over again of being his probably greatest movie. And I don't know if that's just because he died before it came out. It was just an okay movie to me. It's not one that I have to sit and watch over and over and over again. Mm-hmm. But it's cool when you do notes like this and you get to see some of the stuff behind the movie where you can go back and watch it and maybe put two and two together now.
Yeah.
Because I think the more you watch it, the more you will like it. So this was my first time actually watching the whole thing all the way through in one sitting. I've seen bits and pieces, like I've seen the chickadee run, I've seen the knife fights, you know what I mean?
Very similar boat with you, where I haven't really watched it all the way through yet. Yeah.
Right. So, like you, I do want to go back and watch it again just to see, what happened.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're on the same page here. We're like, we really want to like this film a lot, but overall we kind of left it feeling a little bit down on the whole film.
And I need to see his other movies to see how I really feel about James Dean. I mean, he looks cool. I mean, he looks like the epitome of a man's man of like the 50s,
perfect young 1950s man,
like a young Arthur Fonzarelli, from Happy Days. You know what I mean? He's just oozing with machismo, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So to me,
but in an unbelievable way, not in like the hyper reality way.
Right,
he looks like the real genuine article.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, you could kind of tell like he was a rebel. I mean,
a rebel and a misguided young youth.
But I think he has a cause. I don't think he's without a cause. I think he has a cause. Yeah. He wants his home life to be better. He doesn't want his parents to argue. He doesn't want his parents tearing away at him. He wants to be.
He wants to be loved. He wants to love somebody. He wants to give his heart to anyone that will take it.
Right. And I think that's where Natalie Wood came in, and but that's why they love each other in this movie. It was just too fast paced for me. I wish this is only 111 minutes. I wish another 20 minutes. Maybe working on the script somewhere in there to link it all together better would have been better for me. Yeah. But who am I to say?
Yeah. Nowadays, this movie would be made very differently.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Very differently.
Yeah.
But I mean, I would say watch it at least once and see if you're. I mean, especially if you've never seen it before. And now that we've went over the notes, maybe you can enjoy it more.
Yeah, especially if you're listening to this podcast, haven't seen the movie, especially like go in with like open mind and trying to appreciate it for what it is. You may enjoy it a lot more than we did our first times, and hopefully it's a movie that grows on us and it grows on you too. If we ever come back to it and be like, hey, we actually love this movie now, we'll mention it in a future podcast. Maybe one of the East to Eden or Giant podcasts will mention like, hey, we actually like Rebel Without a Cause now.
I'm totally wrong. I like to redact my statements.
Exactly. We're going to redact your statements. Rebel Without a Cause Part 2.
Well, so with that being said, if you'd like to join us on our Facebook group, the Tragedy of Cinema Podcast Facebook group, we got merchandise on redbubble.com. We got t-shirts, hats, aprons,
all kinds of cool
hopefully
stuff.
Socks. I need to look at that. Magnets, signs, posters, whatever you want.
Like my face could be on
the
one,
reason
your
we
face could be another,
the reason we went through
separate sizes.
The reason cardboard cutout of Kyle. The reason we went through Redbubble is because we didn't want to pay to have a bunch of merchandise sitting on hand, so people can order what they want and have it shipped directly to them.
Yeah.
You can follow me on Twitter, Tragedy Cinema. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, I think Snapchat. I don't even know if I use that anymore. Kyle supposedly doing TikTok.
Someday that TikTok's going to happen.
TikTok's going to rise out of the thing.
You don't need to remind me every 3 months, Jimbo, I swear.
And next week, be on the lookout for our 3rd anniversary birthday episode. So we're not going to tell you what it is yet.
Okay.
You'll just have to wait till it hits your podcast feed. But it is beloved by many, especially the younger generations, I will say. Yes. Me, not so much. But we'll get to that. So with that being said, I think this episode's coming to a close, and that's a wrap.
And Kyle? Cut.